We're here, kids. How you doing? Everybody good? Rory, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah?
How are you?
Pretty good. You know, I just noticed, like, you sound way more psyched about, you know, what we're going to do today than I do. Part of the reason... What'd you say?
Can't really explain that.
Yeah. Fred, how you doing, buddy? Fred, you good? Fred says hi. Fred's not going to say how he's doing. Okay, he's private. So I got... I'm a little bit apprehensive about the code we have to write today because it's I don't have complete clarity on how it's going to work, and I'm a little bit nervous. It's got opportunity for failure. If we're really careful, I think everything's going to be okay, and you know we'll be okay by the end of the day.
After you yesterday, you were going down a path where we'd got various nodes in our tree, and our tree was now going to be given the ability to look somewhat beyond its own capability. We would define a different type of property. This property was going to be, I forget exactly how this worked.
It was the material shader. The shader has custom properties that are essentially accessible through the material. They're like attached properties is what they appear to be. Well, so I'm not entirely sure, but they're not. They're in order to change them, we can't use reflection. We have to use, we can use reflection to invoke a method on them, but we're not going to get they've got a method called, I don't know, set value or something like that, and get property. They've got some methods we've got to call if we're going to.
It's like a sort of meta reflection of its own, doesn't it? So they don't have these properties accessible.
A little bit
for setting them, and so we were going to expose those as if they were properties or fields. And to do that, necessity was, first of all, we record the information about them, make them pop up as custom node tree nodes, and then I left just at the moment you were about to start the path of when you click on this, we need to create an editor in a similar vein to how we would have for a normal property. And then you'd, of course, have to have it use those methods to do the setting and getting rather than just examining a property or a field value.
Yeah, so we broke through that and got that working by the end of the show. By the end of the show, we were like, we had successfully changed a color on a material. And I was like, boom, we did it. But we're still, yes. So I'll show you that. Let's at least get that here. So we'll choose add prefab. What is it that I was working with? I feel like it was effect 17 maybe? R1 effect 17? Where are we? There it is, okay. Well, that wasn't it, but it's one that we can work with. Okay, there it is. We'll put that off to the side.
This is the effect as it comes standard, so to speak.
Right. Now, one of the things I did that I think you'll like is I added checkboxes to this side over here. So if I want to turn something on or off, I can see it. So shield add, I can very quickly see what it does. See, it does that the little white kind of lines in the middle. Oh, yeah. That's what shield add does. Shield fringe does the bottom part. Sometimes when I turn it back on, it takes a while to appear. I think that's because of the particle nature of it. It's kind of creating particles to appear. The shield itself is there. And notice when I turn it back on, it just does that kind of cool thing. Isn't that cool?
That's nice.
So it's part of its normal appearance piece, but at least also...
pieces that you could otherwise find by, locating the correct enable-disable piece on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
But you've pulled them out because they're of interest.
Yeah, what's happening is I've basically said, hey, are you a game object? If you are, let's take your active state and put it in a checkbox. So if I were to do this, I don't have this synced up there yet. It's not going to go away, but that's kind of the equivalent of what this is.
Sure.
So now
that's really useful though.
Yeah. So I should maybe at some point make that change this, but it's not happening yet. But it's useful, so I can like grab the lights and I can say turn off the light, and there we go. We've turned off the light and turning them on. Even that fades them in. Interesting.
Because the tree on the left was kind of built there to allow you to create a composite prefab, composite effect, right? You're going to add pieces to it. But this is acknowledgement that one of those original pieces could already be built from several game objects, and shows you hierarchy going the other way.
Yeah,
that's really useful.
That's exactly what's going on there. Yeah. So that's in fact 17. Let's close it down and let's try to get 18, because I think 18 was the one that had the edit prefab again, add prefab. Let's see if 18 is the one. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so we want to change this. We want to start changing the colors of it. Let's start dropping some stuff down. Let's get just to the decal. So there's the decal down the bottom. Let's turn off the audio. Okay, so there's the decal. We want to change this. This does not quite have the same thing. It doesn't have a shader. So, well, it's got these shaders, but I'm not sure if they have the properties we're interested in messing with. I don't see the material here. So let's go to the shield. I think the shield is going to be the one that we're going to look at. All right, so we'll look at the shield. So I remember this particle renderer, material. Here we go. All right.
Oh, yeah.
So here these are. I created some sliders for the color editor, so it's a little easier. We can see it. So if I click on them, I do get this really weird exception sometimes. This is in my conversion. I'm trying to convert. I'm not exactly sure what my call stack is here, where this is coming from. And I'm getting this message down here too. Value editor found for Unity color, engine color. So it's going to the Unity engine color value editor that we've assigned to that. And it's trying to convert it. Now, if I make a change to it, everything will be okay, but I have a feeling that there's something here in the colors I'm not quite understanding in the color conversion. Just to give you a clue to what's going on in that, where is that going to be? Oh, yeah. Value editors. Edit color. Okay. So we got, I think, a set value in here. This is called when it's selected. We call it toSys draw color here. And I think this is the problem. So we get a Unity engine.color coming in and we call toSys draw color. Okay, and I think, but now I've added, in response to that error, I added this, math.max, to make sure it couldn't be more than one.
Right.
So, and I'm still getting the error.
Somehow we are, yeah.
It could be here, maybe, I suppose, as well, to Unity color. I'm not sure if I'm calling that. Well, I'm calling it in color change. So what I think I need to do is I need to, I have a TLW, no, I have a TLE, and I have a TLD. I need to start sending some messages out here. Let's maybe go after this and understand this bug first. Edit color.setValue. Like that. And let's do that. And I almost want to just kind of do that and do that, just to see where that message is, where the exception is coming from. Because my suspicion is it's in this space. And just in case, I'm going to come in here as well. Just throw some more messages out here.
This is the difficulty we face when we can't debug into code. Unfortunately, you just got to find any way you can to raise awareness of both where you are and what the state is at that moment.
Yeah, that's kind of exactly what my situation is here. All right, so I'm just going to throw some messages out there to see if I can catch that exception, where that is. And this is another place, min-max gradient. That's not of interest to us. Yeah, it's only here. This is the only place that one has changed. And to sister color is called, where's this? That doesn't matter. And then back over here. So yeah, these are the only places we're doing. Would you say?
Down on 8, there's a multiplying by 100 going on. What's the logic behind that?
Oh, Husatch light has values that are between 0 and 1, and the track bar has a value between 0 and 100.
Okay, fair enough.
And I'm just converting those over right there.
Sure.
At any rate, the thing that's interesting about this whole thing is that, let's see, where's the... What's interesting is I'm alt tabbing to it, but I don't see it. There it is. Okay, I'm just not responding. That's not good. Why wouldn't it be responding? Is it that my log has got a selection? Aha! Look at that.
Yes.
It's just clicking the log and it's like everything's
Solved.
Okay, so here's the deal. If I change one of these and then click away and click back, everything's okay. But if I don't, it's always going to get that value and it's always going to give me that message. So what's interesting is that it really seems, 1020 is not a value for red. It should be equal to 0 and less than or equal to 255. It really seems to me like this is an exception. Well, it seems like two things. One is already that I stated that it's an exception in our color conversion that's happening. But also that it is a...
Before.
What?
The max value. 1020 is 4 times 255.
Interesting. That is
Now,
not something I figured out.
There are components to color: red, green, blue, and alpha.
Yeah. I'm wondering if each one has got its own kind of alpha channels, what it feels like. But still, the max, this call to max that I've got in here should solve it if I've got it, if I've figured it out in the right spot. Well, let's do this. Let's shut down and let's rebuild with our new messages. See if we can get a little more data in here. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I went and looked up color though, and it said, no, Mark, not going to give you any assistance here. It's basically what it did. Unity color. There wasn't any secret that said like red could sometimes be 1050. So, so that. Let's see. Let's go to my TaleSpire launcher. Right there. Start it up.
It's interesting that the range is still 0 to 255 for red. I mean, if that's the case, as we would have expected, coming from a .NET background and that particular approach to color, why they felt the need to reinvent color? What else does their color do that the base framework didn't do for them?
Well, it's interesting, Rory, is that even when they went to WPF, they reinvented color, right? Well, Microsoft had full control over it. They had a pretty decent color in system.drawing. They could have just enhance that, but they did not. All right, so we're starting up here, getting some messages. Let's get TaleSpire up on the top monitor here so you can see it. There it is right there. So we said that was 17?
18.
It was 18. Thanks, Rory.
It's 18 the second time around.
That's what I'm looking for. There it is. Sweet. All right. Now we'll turn off a bunch of stuff. Only the shield. Like that. Okay, so there's the shield. Now we're going to go into Particle System Renderer. Grab its material. and click, let's go look over here for a second. All right, and then we're going to click on Fresnel color. And it says back color is equal to 2 draw color. And sure enough, 2 draw color seems to be throwing the exception, because we don't see anything after that. That's our last call right there. And we would have expected to see this afterwards. So the track bars are not working. 2 draw color is failing. And why? From ARGB, math round, color R. What's the max? Oh, I've got max and I should have min.
Min.
Gosh darn it.
First time rounds.
I do this like every time, Roy. It's like my brain just cannot get its.
I think it's not too strange really, because the mind can read that and go, max, that means at most.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's how I read it every time. All right. So that I think is going to now solve it. It's going to fix the problem. But,
I think before you restart there, can we throw some logs out that tell us what R is in the case of it not being in the range?
Yeah.
I guess the R is 1020, isn't it? Maybe that's not so useful. So how is it possible that our color, that color.R that right there, could even possibly be 1020? It should not store that, should it?
No, it's coming from a Unity engine.color.
Oh, of course.
That's what
let's throw the composite parts out, yeah. And
whoops, hold on.
Can we do that?
Nope, I absolutely cannot. Thanks for being like, wait, can you do that?
It'd be cool if we could.
It would be cool if we could. Yeah, I got to do this. Yeah. I think I'm going to need a lot of help today, Rory. Clearly, you can see RGB right there. Yeah, if we drill into this, what's it give us? An int for these? It's float. These are floats.
So this is actually us attempting to get values from Unity and use them to update, firstly, a color of our own, and then secondly, ultimately to use that color in setting values on our tracks and what have you.
Yeah.
But these are way bigger than we're expecting them to be.
Yeah.
And it's not so much that Unity can't handle the bigger values, it's got bigger values, which for some reason it's trying to force on us, and we don't know what to do with them.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea. And when I looked up Unity Engine.color, I didn't see any clues on big numbers there. I didn't do a specific search for, larger than 255, maybe values greater than 255. Let's see if we get any magic hits there.
Right, supposedly the RGB values are all.
Yeah, that's what Coding Gorilla is saying. You have fractions of a red. Nobody's got an upvote here in the answers. Combine the color with the incoming texture, and some even double the incoming value. In the end, the color is always clamped between 0 and 1. So there's some, the shader can apparently do this. What I think that might mean is that the shader can maybe set it to a value that makes sense for it. But because we're clamping down, we might have to add additional sliders to undo the clamp, is kind of what I'm suggesting.
Well, maybe, but I'm looking at color.r and we're multiplying by 255. Now, we know the result is 1020, so by that logic, color.r is 4. which is not between the value of 0 and 1.
Yes. That's correct.
Which is very weird.
Well, that's kind of what they're talking about here. They're saying, they're saying the color can be beyond 1, is kind of what they're saying here. I shouldn't have said greater than 255, I should say greater than 1 here. Yeah. Well, we'll see what the value is when we click it. We're going to now put that out. So, all right, rebuild that. Yeah. Oh my God, how many times have I done this, Roy? And even when I was writing this, I was like, be careful. No, I don't want it to be any more max than 1. You know, I'm like, I totally read it that way. Could not copy. Looks like we're still running. Rebuild. Whoops. Looks like okay, we're good. Just that one error. Just means the second machine is turned off. That's all. How you doing, Coding Gorilla? Thanks for joining us today. So the part I'm not looking forward to, which we're going to, because it involves a lot of concentration, deep focus, is the part that takes this structure. I don't really have a picture of it. I'll talk about it when we bring up the UI. There we go. So you may recall, like, I don't know, a week ago, maybe longer, we created this thing called composite effects out here. Composite effect essentially had a list of children, which were in turn composite effects. It had a prefab that we needed to create and properties to modify on that. We added some code. Where is it? It's over in our Form Explorer, Form Effect Editor? No, Form Explorer here. In fact, I think we had a button on it to do the test. Is it this button? Yeah. So we call get composite effect TaleSpire effect. That goes into our registered effects, looking for our TaleSpire effect that we added. Create custom fire effect, which is here. So here we just create a new composite effect instance. We set its prefab to medium fire. We add some properties we want to change. You remember this code, Rory? I think you were here when we wrote this. And I can't hear you if you are checking your muted.
Was that a little low? Yes, I do remember that. It's
all right. So and so as proof of concept, this worked. So we can go look at that and actually hit that button now and try that out. What that does, as I recall, is that's going to, well, we can look at the code. It's going to create, it's going to use the medium fire prefab. It's going to make it 3 times as big, and it's going to change its start color to be a random color between these two values here, which is more on the blue-green spectrum. You may recall I'm pretty sure you were with us when we did that. Let's spin the camera around. Jump over here because this is where it puts it. And let's grab medium fire first, just to show you that. I type in medium here. There it is, medium fire. So medium fire is there. All right, and then if we test effects, there's the 3 times bigger version of it. So 3 times taller, 3 times wider. Right, the scale has changed. Okay. What?
It has indeed. Yep.
Yeah. All right. And so
distinction.
Yeah. So what we've got to do is we've got to map this structure, instead of creating it in code like this, we need to create it inside of our edit prefab UI. By the way, this is what that code looks like streamed out, serialized out. And we've got a deserialization button down here, which means we should be able to come in here and change the size, make it even bigger, for example. Let's make it be like 2.9, so it's super tall, like that. And if I click on deserialize here, I think we'll see this replaced with the taller. Yeah, there you go.
Good effect.
Yeah, so it's basically proof of concept that we can take text and turn it into an effect, which is one of the things we're going to need to be able to do for this. So yeah. All right, let's go back over to edit prefab now. But on good authority that I want to go for 18. R1 effect 18. Let's go jump out here to the 000 position. All right, let's go see if we can find that error. And probably have it gone now. We were in shield, material, and here is that guy. And let's click on cutout color. Yeah, so here you go.
Right, so we got way in excess. Actually, see, that's interesting. That's not even the 4 that we wanted from before, that we assumed would cause our multiple of, is it still 1020 in the message box?
Yeah, but that was for cutout. For Fresnel color, I get the 4.
There we go.
Okay.
So
there you go. That's what's going on. Now, the problem is that when I change this 4 for Fresnel color is going to go away, and I bet, well, there's a chance something will mess up over here. Let's turn everything else out so we can just see what we're modifying. And turn off the lights and the audio. Okay, this is what we're modifying right here. That's the effect. Just get that a little bit bigger so we can see that. And now let's go to back in again. Material. I'm almost thinking about creating a button to get me here. All right, so cutout color, Fresnel color. Let's start with Fresnel color and let's start moving it. As soon as we move it, we're going to stop getting that 4 in there when we click on it. Let's see what happens. Let's just move it the smallest amount. Well, we click away, come back, and now we're not seeing it anymore. So we're seeing 0.79.
You can make sort of just a wild guess, something that shouldn't make any sense. But if you imagine that color, even for the individual component of the color, was kind of a wraparound. So 0 is no red, 1 is 100% red, right? But then fractionally over 1 is down very close to 0 again. Okay, and 2 is also 100%, and 3 is also 100%, and 4 is also 100%. I don't know why it would be that way, but it's like you can take, if it's more than 1, take 1 away and keep going. Then eventually you get this normalized value. Now we effectively set those normalized, because our controls can only go between 0 and 1 when you're going back. But you know, it kind of makes sense in my head, but I can't give a good explanation as to why it would ever start like that. Well,
I've got an idea. Let's say your shader takes the color value and it uses the base for one piece and the other number. Hey, HoloFox is out there lurking. Hector's out there as well. Hey, Hector, welcome. And it takes the value above it and it applies that to a texture, for example. Like here we've got distortion, and maybe distortion's coming from a noise pattern. And so maybe it's using that number. In other words, I think what we want to do, in order to truly support this, any extra has got to be, you know, in the form of R, G, and B down here, right? Because I'm converting it to HSL, HuSat Light. So what we might want to do is somehow add support for that, because it does not look as distinct as it was before, right? Remember, that was a higher degree of color. Or we just go with the loss. Do you know what I'm saying, Rory? It had a more distinct color.
You're suggesting multiplexing of information into the single number, essentially.
Yeah, that's what I'm suggesting is happening, and that it's the shaders.
Unless the extra noise is only ever there when you have 100% as well. Because, for example, let's say it was 75%. So you're talking 0.75 would be our normal understanding of it. If you had a noise component that was somehow, 0.5, your total there is 1.25. But that's no different to 100% red with a 0.25.
No, I'm not suggesting that. What I'm suggesting is they clamp between 0 and 1, and anything above that is data used from another source, is data used for a second process, for example. That's what I'm suggesting. Or maybe alternatively, that they're just simply saying, no, you can actually have more intense than red, is what you can do. You can have a redder than red. And they've changed the scale in their shader. That's kind of what I'm suspecting.
So you could argue that the degree of red is found as in what position between two absolutes it will be.
Sure.
And then the extra piece of encoded data is which set of absolutes are we between. So,
well, I don't think that's the case. I don't think
75% red, and so is 2.75. But the fact that it's 1 versus 2 tells you something else.
Well, I think the shader hard codes its extremes. That would be how I would imagine they're writing this. That they're hard coding the extremes, and the shader knows how to use the number. That's what I think, right? So it's like, we could also do this. We could come in and say, well, okay, instead of adding 3 sliders for hue, saturation, and light, we could add 3 sliders for R, G, and B, but they could go way beyond 1. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So, we need that to know what this color is, but the thing is, in truth, there's extra on the R, G, and B. I could also just add RGB extra in here and have those come out as well.
So, question then. Let's imagine we do either of those, right? And we take the values of, 4 and a few other things.
Yeah.
So we take the 4 and we have our red slider go up to 4 at least, so that we can set the value. How do we then, what do we decide to take from that value in order to encode our own 4 to show you a preview? Because that's essentially what's breaking now. We're taking a value of 4 somewhere that can't live.
I think what we do is we simply just subtract, 1 from every value that comes in, and we use anything that's less than 1, essentially the decimal, to just determine what the color is, what that R, G, or B component is. And anything beyond that, we just call it RG, red extra, blue extra, green extra. Yep. And we can almost put them in as edit fields, right?
Sure.
And then it just adds those back in. In fact, that would be the easiest way to do it. Red extra. In fact, I'm almost thinking let's pursue it, because, let's just double check that we're right on this. If I close this down, remember this, and actually maybe you don't have to remember it. Let's close it down. Let's go bring it back up again. Let's pick it again. Let's grab Effect 18. There it is right there. Come in. Let's turn off everything but the shield. And look at how distinct it is compared to what happens. Okay, look at the color of it, right?
Take
See, what'd you say?
Take screenshot?
Yeah, and I just realized, Rory, you may not be able to see it as well because you're colorblind.
There may be a small element of that, yeah.
Okay, well, I'll be the second part of your brain that talks to your brain that tells you whether it's there or not. I'm going to take a screenshot of it, and we will compare the two. But I feel like there's a loss, and I suspect the loss is in the. Okay, so that's the guy we are interested in right there. Okay, so we got one here.
Finite Singularity is raiding. Party of 8. Come on in, everybody.
Hey, thanks for that Finite Singularity. I love it. What a great name.
That is pretty good.
It gets me thinking.
Come on in. So we're playing in TaleSpire and C# and all manner of things. We're trying to inject our own effects into TaleSpire, and we're actually succeeding quite well. We're actually playing with our own little editor here, which is designed to allow us to, first of all, inject that effect in, but also then manipulate the properties of the effect, the prefab and the pieces around it in real time. And at the moment we're playing with the idea of setting a color on something. The difficulty we're finding is that whereas we would understand a color to be sort of 0 to 255 in red, green, blue, and possibly alpha channels, or a huge saturation and light alternative, Unity seems to store the values and allow them, well, it says between 0 and 1 and store as a float. Unfortunately, we've come across values that far exceed that. We've got a 4 in there. So we're playing with how we should interpret this data and maybe what this extra meaning might be.
Right. Yeah, Brandon Roberts is out there. Hey, Brandon, welcome. Yeah, so that's kind of what we're working on. We're right now verifying that those numbers are actually making a difference. So I've taken a screenshot of this right here in its current state. There's my screenshot right there, just so we can kind of get a sense of what that contrast is there around the edge there of it. And I'm about to change it using our editor, and we've kind of noticed that when we make the change, got to jump down in here, get to material, and open it up here. Fresnel color, I think, was the one. So we come in here, we make the change. As soon as we make any change at all, we lose intensity, I think. Yeah, there it is. It becomes almost invisible. I don't know.
Dropped there. That's a good point.
Are you able to see that, Rory? Is that?
I did notice. This time I was looking. It's very hard for me to sort of see things because of my color blindness across a stretch of time. So I sort of think one and another. But if I'm staring at it when it changes, then the color change is definitely something I can experience.
Okay, cool. So let me just put these side by side, and you can kind of see it there, what's going on. There's one and then the other. This one's smaller than the other, but you can see it's not as distinct around the edges.
It really isn't. It's less tangent somehow.
Yeah. It looks really interesting. Interpreting not so great documented data can definitely be a challenge. But let's just try to break things too. That's what we're doing.
Oh yeah, that's always fun.
All we're doing here, we're trying to break something.
You've come to the right mindset with us.
Yeah. So my theory is on this is that we want to make it say extra. We want that. We want to add the ability to kind of have some bonus values to these. That when we convert to a color, we're going to increment by that amount. And so what we do is when we click on it, we see what its current values are that are exceeding the values we're expecting, and we store those in the bonus, and we just allow those to be edited. That's kind of the idea there. However, I will show you this because we didn't here. Let's bring up the decal and we'll look at the decal. Well, actually, no, let's not. Let's go to the bottom of the shield. There's the shield. So the shield at bottom brings up these little flames around the bottom, right? See that, Rory?
I do.
Okay. Go into the renderer, go into material. This is the demo that we kind of didn't do. There's tint color. Now I can come in here and change this, and there you can see that we have control over that color right now. So that is cool. Like from the standpoint of building our own effects, you know, we can do that kind of thing. Also, similarly, we can go into, should be able to go find the transform and get its scale and say, let's make it taller. Oh, interesting. Look at this. That's interesting. Its X and Y are the same, but its Z is longer. The Z is not up and down, is my knowledge. It's not. Let's go double check that. Maybe it is.
I was going to say, it looks like it has a relatively, well, as it say, square sort of base to it.
Yeah, I think it's clipped off. It's interesting. So it must be rotated a bit, is what it is. It looks like it is to me. Yeah, look at that. Okay, that's almost better. Right there, that kind of a look. Oh, I see what's happening here. The scale on the Z, interesting. Okay, cool. So that's cool. Anyway, we can modify these kinds of things for the spell effect and kind of start building these pieces up to create, you know, whatever the spell effect is that we want by changing the color, changing the shape of the pieces. Okay, so yes. So here's what we've done. We've now we've kind of solved the problem, and then a new question has come up. Do we go after this, or do we take a bite of the really big stuff? Is the question. Which is to basically say, okay, you know what, ignore this because this is kind of a known entity. To go after this and find this is a known entity, right? To be able to add the extra is probably going to solve it. I guess I'm going to do it since I've talked about it enough. So we'll do that, and then after that, we're going to go after the big stuff, which is basically how do we get our composite structure to closely mirror this right? And then that's step one. And step two is then getting some JSON over here that we can then test and in terms of creating a brand new effect and sending it across and making it work. That's kind of what our two-step goals are for today. Okay, so step one, we're going to go to our color editor, and it's right here, and we've actually got some design stuff here too. Go ahead and throw in our extra A, B, and C, or RGB, I mean. Extra red. I actually like this. It excites me, this idea of extra red, extra green, extra blue.
Dialing and 12 and 13.
What'd you say?
Dialing it up to 11 and 12 and 13.
Yeah, I know. When I was younger, I was determined to patent whiter than white and blacker than black colors, new colors. That instead of using 000, I used -1, -1, -1. And it was, of course, a joke, but...
You say that, but TV producers have been telling us for decades, year on year on year, that they have the blackest blacks and the whitest whites.
Sure, right. That's true. Well, they're trying to nail those down. Okay, so this is going to be extra red, I guess, like that. And these two are going to be extra green, and this one's going to be extra blue. And I think whenever there's any kind of change on any of these, I think we're just going to have one event handler for it. My text change right there. Let's rename this to any extra changed. It's my reminder that Dropbox is still running. Okay, and we have a set value. This is where the new color comes in.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to say set extra values maybe. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if I should modify new color. I don't think I need to modify it. I'm not going to modify it. I'm just going to go through and examine it is what I'm going to do, each one of these. And so I'm going to say if new color dot red is greater than 1, then I'm going to say TBX. What did I call it? Did I not? What did I call them? I didn't call it starting with TBX.
I don't recall you naming them, but maybe you did.
Oh, maybe I didn't name them. I probably didn't. Yeah, TBX, TXT.
Oh, TXT. Yep.
All right, so I'll use that. TXT extra red dot text is equal to new color dot R minus 1 to string. I think that's fair. Like that.
Yep.
Let's extract all of that out and let's call this set extra. I want to decompose parameter on that value. Let's take this guy, mode it to parameter as well, like this. And then now I can come in here and make that RG. And this one's going to be green. Whoops. Green. And then this one's going to be blue. like that.
Nice.
Oh, and then I need an else here that says it's just going to be equal to 0. Okay. All right.
All good.
So this goes with my theory that extra is meaningful. Is what it goes with. But I still want to be able to show a color so that, folks like, folks with color vision can say, oh, okay, I get it. I see what's happening. Let's go in here.
So now we're going to take the values that we've placed there and subtract them from their constituent parts, coming up with an actual color.
Well, that already happens. We're already doing that in this call here.
We've got to make sure it subtracts the value, though, don't we? Because we're stuck with
it clamps it at 1, remember? It essentially does.
Can we have a look at that?
Yeah. It clamps it at 1 because of the min call.
Right, but at that point, color R is still 4.
Right,
so
but the result of this, that's okay. That's only, this is only happening when we're getting it from Unity. This call only happens once.
If the value that came in was 4.5,
yeah,
would you be assuming it should be 1?
No.
Or well, because it's going to be 1.
No, it's going to be 0.5 is what it's going to be.
Out of 4.
Oh, no, you're right. You're right. No, it's going to be 1. You're right. I'm good with that. I'm trusting it because we don't know enough about to decide whether it's going to work or not.
I'm saying there are 2 interpretations.
I know, we got a 50 chance.
Everything over 1 is supposed to be 1, and then everything over 1 should have the excess taken from it. So the excess is 3. Is for 4.5. The excess is 4. So you take it away, and you result in 0.5.
Yeah, that's not what I'm going to do. Well, there's 2 ways of interpreting it. We got a 50% chance that our idea is correct. We'll see. We can also open up the shader and look at the shader, but I'm not even really wanting to do that right now at this point because I barely understand shader code, and it's not even in C#. No, it's not. But there is a second piece we have to do. And the second piece we have to do is when we get the value. Where's it called to get value? Value change. Here's the new value. Color, Unity Engine color to color. Now here is the tricky piece. To Unity color.
Yeah. We have to reassemble from the extra and the one. Well, yeah.
That's kind of what I'm thinking about. And I think I'm going to come in here and just pass them in as additional parameters. You think Rory's right, Coding Gorilla? There's no information. It's unknown. We can't tell if Rory's right or not right now.
Here's the interesting thing. I think this might be able to answer it, because don't we lose data if we clamp the value to 1 so that we don't have that data to reassemble here?
No, because we grabbed the extra data and stuck it onto the extra. It's in here.
So start with a 4.5, right? And we come in and we say everything over 1 is extra. So that's 3.5 is our extra. Okay.
Okay.
I see. Okay, no, you're right. So if this is the algorithm, no, we don't lose data. We can still reassemble.
So when Coding Gorilla says, I think Rory is right, you're referring to the future when you wrote that, when Rory said, I think you're right, Mark. Is that right? Because now we're all right. I love that. We don't even have to test it. That's how right we are.
That's some smart thinking right there. That's some get out of jail free logic.
It never works for me as well as I hope it will. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to just pass in these additional parameters here. And I think I want I've got to have a to float converter somewhere out here as a static. To float. Come on. Float. Get float. What you got for me? Get float. Takes a string, tries to parse it, throws an error out, returns 0 otherwise. Why aren't you static? Where should I put you? Where are you? Base property changer? That's all going to work from there. I think I'm going to use it. I think I'll use it just where it is. This will do this. Red extra is equal to base property changer dot get float, and we're going to pass in txt extra red dot text like that. And we're going to do the same for green, and then we're going to do the same for blue. Look at that. Good code Rex helped me out there. Then we're going to add these parameters here. We're going to add red extra here. That. Oh, let me undo this. I do not want to. I want to add it as a as an optional parameter. Let's go in here, and we're going to say red extra like that. From there to there, and we're going to go to blue extra. Oops, that one should have been green. Green extra and blue extra, and then we're going to come in here, and then we're going to say plus red extra. And oh, I've got to make those plus green extra, and then plus blue extra. Got to make these default parameters here. I'll set them all equal to 0f. Okay, good. Then back over to where we started here, pass them in. What's interesting is, will this have an impact? That's really kind of what we're ultimately questioning here. Let's shut it down, shut down TaleSpire, rebuild, and we're hoping it has an impact. What's also cool, now it just occurred to me in my edit color, I don't have
apply.
I don't have anything happening here.
That's right.
So I'm going to just do, I think I'm just going to say color changed. I'm not going to call update track bars because I don't care about the track bars at all updating, because these are going to be extras beyond what's in the track bar.
Yeah. So what we've got is a system for taking the value that we've been given and storing every part of it while still using some part of it to represent a color. But regardless of whether we're doing it correctly or not,
right?
When we reassemble those values, we'll be handing Unity back what it's expecting. Yeah. And so we'll be able to play with those values to see what the effect is. Yeah.
Zulix says, that's 3 rights, and that is so right. I agree with you, Zulix. We do not have to test. It's not even fair to test right now at this point. At this point, it'd be disrespectful to all of us to hit that play button and start it up.
That one right there, we can't.
I can't stop it, man. There's no way to stop it. It's starting. I'd like to be able to, but there's just no way. All right, if we get this working, if this works, that'll be sweet. And then we'll go on to the hard stuff. The stuff that my brain is barely going it's like Mordor. We watched Lord of the Rings recently, and so I've got Gollum and Mordor on my mind a little bit. And it's like a little bit like, traveling into Mordor. It's a little daunting, it feels. I have a feeling there's a couple problems that are going to be tricky in it. I guess I'll talk about them when we get in there. We talk about the tricky stuff, maybe we'll get past it. Yeah. The cool thing is, once we get past it, I won't have to think about it anymore at all after that. All right, so let's add prefab. Right, it'll all just work, which is kind of what our goal is here. Effect 18, that's the one we're working with. Where are you, my friend? There you are, right there. Okay, and let's go to, again, we'll turn everything off. We'll go to shield. So we'll try, what our goal is to try to modify that color using our new property editor. Yeah, look at that. So there's my extra red. Now let's see what happens if we make a change now. Does it stay as intense? Uh-oh. It does not even budge. if I did change that to a 2? Nothing, 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 nothing. Okay, it looks like we were both incredibly wrong. In fact, the only way to change it... Oh, wait, this is cutout color, not Fresnel color. Hold on. Hold on, hold on. This is the one I think we need to modify. Right here.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. There. And now, wait, it does look successful. Hold on. Let's see what happens if I change this to a first. It does look sharper to me. Change that to a... Ooh, look at that! Look what's happening. Look what the extra red is doing. We were all right, Rory. All of us. What happens with the blue? Okay. So we can just take... See what it's doing? It's kind of like the amplifier, right? The shader's kind of saying, okay, I've got a much broader scale on amplification. It
almost feels like it's applying saturation on a per color basis.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Uh-oh, though. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It's really these guys here is what it looks like to me. If I set all of these to 0, and we have the normal color piece right here, it's almost like a multiplier of it. If I change it, if I do it, what if I make it 2, 2, and 2? Does that work? It's like an amplifier, almost. But you're right, though, it does kind of look for an imbalance here to really create the saturation, is what it looks like to me. If I make that a 0 and that a 0, yeah. It's almost like it's at a much bigger scale. It's not so much, let me just try changing this to 10 and 10 and 10. Really, tab isn't getting me to the next field? I thought that was built into WinForms. Okay, so I made it 10, 10, and 10. Yeah. So this, I'm using this. I wonder if I should now have a multiplier, a single multiplier. Because what's happening is this is just adding it, right? I need a multiplier here. That's kind of what I think I need. Let's close it down, bring it back up one more time.
Multiply.
What'd you say?
What would multiplier multiply? Because
it multiplies each R, G, and B by that amount.
But that suggests that one multiplier for 3 values.
Yes.
Don't you 3 multipliers?
No.
Because that's kind of what we've got.
No, I don't think I want that. I want one multiplier because I want to be able to choose the color because we're losing the color. What I've seen from the test is that if we make all those values the same, it is
see, the base value that we got back, I think only had the red in sort of that amped state.
No, it had the others too. But the suggestion is, it's like the scale has changed, is what it's looking like to me. I feel like a single multiplier would solve the problem because I'm choosing different colors, which affects the ratios of the R, G, and B. And all we're really doing is amplifying all of them. And right now we're using these extras as an additive way. And what I'm really thinking is I want to do them in a multiplying way, is what I want to do.
Okay.
I could do this too. I could just turn it. I mean, let's do that. Let's just turn them into all multipliers. Does that make sense? Really, all multipliers? If I have, yeah, I think I want to make one multiplier. I'm going to make one multiplier on it. Bear with me. Hold on, we'll get out of here the faster way, which is to close that down. I want to make one multiplier. And I want to make it a slider. What'd you say?
On the downside, that I think means that there are combinations of values that Unity can accept that we can't represent, but it might be that we don't need to.
Well, remember, it's not Unity, it's the shader, and the shader is a custom shader that's built by the person who created these effects.
Right, but if we pull back, as we are at the moment, a value with 4.9 and something else, right? And then, but we can't represent that because we're going to use one multiplier, which would only be the 4.
Right, but no, here's what I think I'm going to do. Let's say that I get the highest value, and I say that's the multiplier. okay? And every other value I change based on what that multiplier is. And then I set our color value based on that, what that piece is. And then we have the multiplier, and that's how I calculate the multiplier. So if it's 4.9, my multiplier is 4.9. Okay, if the highest value is less than 1, then my multiplier is 1, and I don't touch the values. Does that make sense? And then that way, when I change my multiplier, the multiplier is used in this final stage when we set the value. Where was it? Before we were here, it's set here. Okay, well, we'll have to multiply the values at some point. Well, I guess we'll have to pass in the multiplier. We'll just pass in the multiplier. That's what I want to do.
Okay.
My intuition says it's going to work.
Cool. There we go then.
Rory's like, well, cool. You just go with that intuition of yours, Mark, and we'll see,
Hey, it's worked many times before.
Yeah. Now we should...
Intuition, right?
Yeah, we should let you know.
Mark doesn't know what he's doing.
All right, we're going to call this the multiplier. Yeah, but I think this is actually going to work really nicely from a usability standpoint too, right? We'll be able to, in places where this makes sense, we'll be able to just, crank up the intensity of something.
You make a turbo button for color.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. That's it. That's exactly what I'm doing. Multiplier. What do I want to do here? Do I want to make it smaller than the others? Fine. Multiplier is going to go from 1. Minimum is going to be 1. And the maximum is going to be, what do you want to say, 20?
Yeah, that is an interesting question. What is the maximum multiplier that this system will even interpret, I guess?
Yeah, okay, multiplier, like that. I feel like that's decent. That's not bad. We want an on change event on this thing. On scroll. We can take this out. We'll say color changed. Inside color changed. We're going to get and set our multiplier. And that's going to be just simply go grab, theoretically the max value is, okay, thanks for that theoretical, Coding Gorilla. Coding Gorilla, I think, has moved in. I think he's been giving me a little more crap these last few days. I don't know what. I'm just not doing, I'm not kicking enough butt for him. I'm not sure what it is. Black Hood Gamer PS4 says, hi, colorful person. Can I ask a question? I feel like a setup. I feel like
questions are good. Bring them on. I'll promise answers, but you know.
Are you catfishing me? I think something's wrong here. All right, so where's my multiplier? Right there, dot value, which I think is an int. It's an int, and I want to divide it. What do I want to do? No, I'm just going to say it's equal to that. The multiplier is going to be equal to 1 through 20. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's divide it by 10, and then we'll be able to get a really fine-tuned, fine-grained piece here. Is that a yes or no? Yes, of course you can. Now I'm feeling so set up. I'm about to be taken down right now. So I'm going to make it go from, the multiplier is going to go from 1 to a maximum of 200. And I'm going to divide it by 10. So we, that's going to be 10.0f. You can ask a question. All right, there's my multiplier now. Then I'm going to throw the multiplier in as my optional piece. So let's go jump in here. Unity color. Let's go change this to my multiplier. Keep an eye on the question there, Rory. So I got my eye on the code right now. Was I set up?
Iffy.
They got me?
I assume. I mean,
You
yeah,
burned
we
me?
might be dealing with somebody. There we go.
Oh, man. Yeah,
Coding for the win.
Coding Gorilla. Nice. I told you to keep an eye on it. Trying to set me up. You suckers. Don't you dare try to do that to the Millenata. Okay, all right, so here we go. So now we're just multiplying each of those numbers by the multiplier, defaulting it to 1.
Okay.
Okay, so now we can have this additional color here. Cool. To Unity color. All right, now we have to calculate the multiplier on the way in. All this beautiful code, we're going to delete it. we just wrote a second ago. And we'll kill set extra values as well. And now what we want to do instead is call it set multiplier. Like that. Ooh, I just realized I had a problem. Important mistake that I need to fix. The min value on this track bar is not 1, it's 10. Because 10 divided by 10 has got to be 1. It's got to get to a min value. I can't multiply by less than that value. That's not what I want to have happen. Well, that's an interesting get multiplier I have. It's not what I wanted.
So the minimum is 10.
Yeah, because I'm dividing the value by 10. Right here.
Right. Yes.
Okay. All right, so here we go. Set multiplier. That's going to declare the new method. And we want to say, basically, we want the max value is equal to new color. Well, we need, sorry, math.max should be called getMax. R1, I think. Well, no, let's go ahead and pass in red, blue, and then green, and then maybe one more, which is
You suppose the alpha channel can have more than one?
I'm not touching the alpha channel because I'm not even going to mess with that. If there's a problem with if the alpha channel is involved, I'm not touching that now. That's not where I'm going.
Yeah, it's just crazy thought, really.
All right, so track multiplier dot value is equal to max value times 10. If I got that right, we want to do I guess we cast to an int. That's the same as a math.floor, I think, right? That's kind of what we're looking for. And just in case, we'll do a math.floor there.
Seems sensible, yeah.
Seems sensible? All right, let's rebuild.
Because I have no idea if it is equivalent. I think just being explicit is good there.
Let's rebuild and see if that works. I feel like I've done everything that I should do. I've done my responsible checking and writing of code. Have I missed something? Is the question I have in my head. All right, loading up TaleSpire. Here's the TaleSpire startup screen. I'm actually pleased with the load times of our resources so far, by the way. The spell effects and things we're adding. It's all being loaded right now. What'd you say?
They don't seem to be adding much to the overall
No,
timing.
they don't. I took out another set that was actually seemingly adding a lot. And since then I've added 2 more sets from another author, and I'm really liking these in terms of load time. It's really not too bad. Right. Anybody sick of Effect 18 yet? All right, so
I need someone who can deal with checking a lot less buttons and things.
All right, so let's go into Shield again. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into Shield, turn everything else off. Hope that works. If that works, it's going to be so sweet for adjusting pieces. There's my shield. Particle system renderer. There's my material. Fresnel color is the one we're interested in. There's my multiplier hanging in right at maybe 10? No, at 4. It's at 4. So we're going to come in here. We're going to, oops, didn't mean to do that. That brought up a color picker dialog. I'm just going to do this. All right, so this looks about the right intensity to me, right? The multiplier is good. Now let's adjust the multiplier and see if it stays in the same green. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. Okay.
It's the cover pattern, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the percentage of the surface covered in the color,
Yeah.
or some scaled thing that causes the percentage anyway.
That's what the shader's using. That's my interpretation of it, absolutely. And so so now we can do this, right? So what's cool about the multiplier is it keeps the color percentage, right? It's the color hue stays the same. It's just how much of that pattern is it going to use, which is exactly what I want, right? For modifying these.
That's great.
Right? Okay.
Now, we're using that for this here, but this is a generic anything whose a shader property is of type color or something similar. So I wonder what this will do to other colors.
I think it's going to have no effect. That the other colors will clamp it down, that the values beyond are only used by the shader. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. So I think we're okay. But let's just try it. On decal, we start up the decal. That's here. Decal, I think, has got a mesh renderer, and inside mesh renderer, it's got a material, and in the material, we've got tint color. Why is that yellow? That's weird. Let's change it and see what happens. It's definitely changing it. Interesting that it was yellow, though. Yeah, I guess that does make sense. All right. So anyway, we can kind of do the tint here. Now let's see what happens with our multiplier. You want to see it?
Distance from center.
Let's see what happens. Whoa! It's the glow effect on it.
Effect. Hey, this is really interesting.
It's cool. It's really cool, right? And it's a great way to modify the colors too, right? Because, I just want to be like, I want to look at a few dials, right? I don't want to be looking at RGB. I don't want to be looking at individual values.
And actually, it makes a hell of a lot of sense, really. Yeah, so...
Bald-bearded Biller
He's in the house.
says, wait, how can you be live here and presenting an MS build? You really are a wizard. Bald-bearded Biller, you got to go see our talk out there, by the way. I don't know if you've seen it, Roy. You probably have not seen it yet.
I don't think so, no.
MS Build, Mark Miller, Michael Jolly. I don't know how Michael Jolly got top billing. I think that was my company's doing. I think they were like, nobody knows who Mark Miller is, but Michael Jolly, that guy's a star. I'm like trying to find our talk. I don't have the link here. I gotta go open up email to get it. I'm searching. Of course, let's see. I'm searching out on Bing. Let's see if here's a test. See if Chrome can find it. Find the talk. Well, yeah. Basically finds us here. There it is. I'll put this out in the chat room. It's 20 minutes long. If you work in VS Code, it's super cool. It's fun. Top billing in like 5 to 10 lines. I know. Well, that's because your lines are like high quality lines, man. You have more than that. I thought you were great. Yeah. It's fun.
It's a good video. It's well worth a watch, actually. I have seen this one.
Oh, you have? Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah. So anyway, that's it right there. Yeah, very cool stuff. With live special effects happening inside of it. Like all kinds of things were there. Michael, how you doing, buddy? Glad you're checking in on me. Don't believe the hype. It was all marked really cool extension. Got a new version of that, by the way. The new version is out. Sorry, I don't think I've followed up with you yet on this, Michael. The new version is out. If you just go to devexpress.com/rush, like that, you can get the... What? Try that. What?
Uh-oh.
That's not good.
This is not the time for that particular link to fail if the talk is directing people to that.
Yeah, hold on 1 second here. All right, sorry, I just had to get an email out here. So what is going on with this? There's our team website. All right. The administrator's been informed of this error. Yeah, you better be informed. But I'm informing you too in email. Take a screenshot of this. Let me just emphasize the importance. This is a live link from our video build. All right, we're about to get back into coding, guys. Don't worry about this. I just had to go put this over here. Boom, that was sent out. I had to just send up that email. Have we sent it?
Looks good in CodeRush, but it's web links as well.
Yeah, let's go out to, let's go find the new, let's just search for it. Rush snippets, VS Code, let's see if we can find that in the marketplace. There we go. Boom. This is the new version right there, Michael. I think I like the link better before it was a 404. Me too. Yeah, Cody Rose says, I just got an email. DevExpress version 21.1 is out. Woo. Yeah, this is, if you've got, this is actually really beautifully done. Oh my gosh, Michael, let me show you. Are you still here, buddy? Michael sometimes just likes to jump in for a bit. If you're still here, I want to show you this. You're going to love this. Yeah, watch this. Let's go to some TypeScript here.
Yep, he's still here.
Yeah, I saw that. Is it, so VU isn't there, but TU is here, I think. So let's say my var, and I think I can type in TU right here. Oh, come on. Where are we? Are we not installed? Rush core, rush nav, rush snippets is not enabled. Let's enable it. That'll make a big difference. All right, let's go back and see if VU is there. I think it's there. I think you're gonna love this when you see it. Ha, sweet. All right, so V for variable, U for union type. So this is my variable name, whatever that's going to be, and then I can do, for example, T for type and B for Boolean, like this. Hit enter. Oh, come on. Why can it do? Let's try it here. Yeah. Enter. No. TU. There it is, right there. Okay. So it's TU. So T for type, U for union. So if I want to create, like, for example, a variable, I can come in here like this, but I can also come in and type in TU like this. And then I can say, okay, let's make it a Boolean. So TB, hit enter, and then TS, space, and then hit enter, and then keep going. So that's the piece I wanted to show you, the TU right there. I just listened to your promo for CodeRush. You both team up for the promo. Cool, says Hector. Yeah, so that is it right there. That's new since I showed this to you based on your feedback, Michael. So very, very cool, very fast to be able to implement all those. You just hit escape at the end when you're done creating that union. So VU looks like it's acting a little differently than I'm expecting. I'll talk to the devs about that. Yeah, that's not what I'm expecting at all. Let me actually record an issue for that right now so we can improve that. All right, this issue is for Rush snippets. So I'm here and I want to create a variable of type union. So I'm typing in VU like this. This says primary of any type initialized to undefined. That's not really what I'm looking for either. Variable undefined initialized. Yeah. Okay. Arguably there is conflict here. Got some collision.
That second one, maybe. BTU.
What'd you say? Well, no, because the T, no. Well, maybe is it? Oh, look, it really is. Okay, VTU is there. All right, fine. So let's try VTU. Yeah. Maybe it's not. I'm not going to report it. Yeah, it's VTU. So it's really my bad. So that means up here I can type in VTU as well. And there it is. Yeah, okay. All right, so that's kind of how it works. VTU is new. Also, a couple other new ones since we did it. T is new. So T for creating a type like this. Or I can also type in T comma. No, I thought I could. I thought there was a T comma in there. T comma. Let's see. Type literal. Should be T comma in there as well.
Given that comma is usually the more contracted form of something, what would be the expectation?
It gives me this. It gives me something like this. It's a one-liner piece with. It's slightly off, but the T is anyway. Anyway, the T's are. Do we have R for record? No, R for record's not there yet. But T is definitely there. Also, templates in here like VS work like you're expecting them to, or you could use PS. Well, I thought you could. Nope, you can't. So it's just a VS like that. All right, so that's what's going on there. Let's see, do I need to make any? So T comma, could not find that. So let me do another issue start here. All right, T comma is not working for me here to create a type. I thought that was available. I see T works, but I don't see T comma. I thought we had T comma for a shorter version of this type template. And also the other piece I had that I'm not sure if this makes sense or not, but it doesn't make sense to support properties, right? Just expand the same way inside of a type, right? You know, in other words, if I type in PS, would it just give me, you know, or PN or something along those lines? Should it give me the equivalent of what a VN gives me here? That's the second question I have. So those are the two questions. Let's go at least mark those. We don't need a log file for this. We're going to say VS rush snippets. Do we need T type and types and expecting T comma template as well. Okay. Just gonna put that in the chat room. Jay Walter says, sweet. Yeah, it is sweet. You know, you're seeing me push against the edge of it. It's a brand new product, so there's a few kinks that we're, I think, you know, a few polishing pieces we're still working on constructing out there, but it's absolutely free, and it is supported by a team of devs here at DevExpress, and no intention to have anything else but to have it be totally free right out there. So give it a try, give it some feedback, let us know what's missing from there. Watch the video. The video will show you the video I put the link to earlier. I think we still got it. The MS Build, scroll up a little bit in chat. Watch that video, and you can get a sense of how powerful it can be in terms of writing code for you. Roy, how are you doing on time?
I am pretty much pushing up against that.
All right, buddy.
One thing I did want to observe just before I left, though, was that we've seen now how there's effectively multiple facets being embedded in one set of numbers, one set of color numbers, and that makes a lot of sense. Shaders are on the graphics cards there, that they're sort of running, as it were, off CPU, on GPU. And the idea, of course, is that they're very, very fast and can run in parallel. But one thing that does cause them to slow down is if you have to transfer a lot of data. So what's happening here is that for values that really can only have to exist between 0 and 1, and it's a float, as it was implicated earlier in the chat room, these have massive quantities of data that's just therefore spare and ready to be used. So if you can multiplex these into those one set of values, then you get to just jump on the bandwagon. You don't have to set another set of floats or ints or whatever else, and you speed things up. So it makes sense that almost any shader that's trying to use the majority of the data coming in would use these extra pieces. Now in this case we've seen one is a kind of a glow effect and the other is a coverage effect, but it would make sense that many of these things have their kind of ways of using this extra data. It's very efficient, clever. Yeah,
it's kind of what I was expecting as well. When we were looking at it, I was like, well, how would I write this, right? Who's you know, what's the cheapest, easiest way to write this? And so, yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool being able to modify like this. You can create lots of different effects. So, you know, my goal is to make this fast and easy to modify, and then to take that, turn it into JSON, and then unravel it, which is what I'm about to do next, right after Roy leaves. Roy, thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate your help.
Absolutely, my friend. It's an absolute pleasure to be here as always, and I will be back with you tomorrow at the same time.
All right. Fred says goodbye. Gives you a thumbs up.
Bye.
All right. Bye, buddy. Roy was great, wasn't he, Fred? Oh. Dance for Rory. In honor of his departure. I'm not sure what's up with all these cats here, kids. I don't know. Anything else I got to look at in chat here? Suppose this works fine in non-React Redux TS projects as well. It does. In fact, what I had up was just that. It's not a React project. So, for example, like E for enum is excellent, right? So I can say like flavors like this, hit enter, and then say type in vanilla, hit enter, and it adds the comma, you know, Choco, hit enter. Whoops, that didn't look good. That was like, okay, interesting. So that was up right there. Interesting. So I can't have IntelliSense up when I'm doing that, or it'll break it when I hit enter on it, because IntelliSense will stick something else in. But one more time. So here we go. Flavors like this, vanilla, like this, hit enter, and then Choco, and if I hit escape and then enter, and there we go. Then strawberry, whatever that is, along those lines. And you can keep adding, you know, your pieces on here, and it'll keep adding the commas. When I'm done, I can just hit escape, and then to jump down here to where that marker is at the end right there. Yeah, so the E for enums, C for classes, I for interfaces, all of that. And inside you can type in F for function. If I want a function that returns a Boolean, I type in FB, that sort of thing, right? And it's all very fast. Down here, the same keystrokes work. FB is going to be a function that returns a Boolean, but it expands differently because it's inside of an interface. I mean, inside of a class instead of an interface. So yeah, it all works the same, and it's all based on the same templates that we have inside of CodeRush for Visual Studio. All right, now it's time for, you know, mind-bending, challenging places that we're going to go to. There's kind of 4 things we need to kind of be aware of to refresh our memory before we go in here. The easiest one of these to look at, I'll just show you each class, we'll take a look at it. Property changer DTO. It's simple, it's only got 3 string values, name, value, and type. So this is what's used when we're sending the data. Where are you, Visual Studio? There you are. So let's go open that up. That's it right there. Just name, value, and type. So it's just holding those 3 pieces of information. The name is the path to the property that we're going to change. That property path could be something like, it could be like this. Particle system dot material, and maybe even something like this. This is a new syntax we've got to be able to create to support the new pieces, but maybe tint color like this, because these materials and shaders have a different way of representing properties, and we need to somehow, I can't do this. Or maybe I could. I could do this actually. And I could just add special code that says, hey, if I can't find you as an actual property using reflection, a property or a field, then let's check to see, are you a material? Do you have a shader? See if I can make a call on that using this string. That's what I'm going to do. So that's what name can look like. Name can look like that. Value can be anything. Okay, any string at all. And then the type is the type that it's the type of the property that we're changing. Like that. So that's our property changer DTO. That's the values that we're going to expect to see in each of these. Okay. Base property changer. It's the next class. I'll give you a glance at it. We won't look through everything on it, but we'll just kind of take a peek at it. This is the class right here. You get a sense of its size right there. So it's not too big. It's got like one really big method. The biggest method is the one that comes in called modify property. And this section right here looks for anything inside of angle brackets, which is basically we're looking for this syntax here. If we see something in angle brackets, we expect this to be a component that's added to the game object. And so we're going to call get component on that game object to find it. Okay, and what we do here is we split on the dots, and we go to each property name in that split, and we're essentially finding our way down, figuring out what the next instance is down all the way. That's what we're doing. So now at this point, we've got a component type name. We're checking to see if the next instance, the piece that we're at currently, is a game object. And next instance is just set to the game object that we start with at the very beginning of the loop. We're going to call get component on it, and if that returns back null, then we say, hey, that component's not found. We get an error and we get out. But if we do find next instance and we've found it successfully, and we say continue. Okay? Now, the material piece of this, there's a to-do in here that goes right here. And this to-do is going to be check to see if this is a material and there's a shader involved. In which case we want to use, what is it? I'm trying to remember where I've got this code. It's inside of my effects editor, I think. I think it's in here. Yeah, I've got something called special here. Add special properties. Yeah. So this gives me the shader gets me my property name. The material is used to call one of these values on it. Get color. So I've got to call get color, get float. So this or this, maybe also get int. Sorry, they're right behind my head right there. So I'm going to need to grab the material. The material is going to have to be the instance, and I'm going to have to invoke a method call on it. And it's got the name of the property. Okay. So the code is going to look something like this. If next instance is a material, And we're going to go try to find property name in that material. So we're going to say material dot get, for example, color, passing in property name. But we need to know which one of these three to use for the value. Whoops, hold on. We're calling set value. So we need to know which one of these right here to use. And at this point also, by the way, the other piece of the component is that we have to be on the very last piece in split here, which we don't have a way of really detecting yet because we're in a for each. So we're going to call set color, property name. Oh, it needs an int. No, it can take a name. All right, cool. And then a color value. So we're going to call in get value. Like that. And I do that. What's wrong with property name? Doesn't exist. Oh. It's not here. It's here. And now we just need to determine which of these three types we're supporting, which I think we can get from the in our type. We don't have a type here. We've got a name and a value. So we need to figure out how to make this code work. We need to be able to tell, what am I going to call? Am I calling set color? Am I calling set float? Like this on it. What other sets do I have out here? Got potentially a set int as well. Like that. So we've got to pick one of these three. Like this. I think what I want to do so let me extract this. It won't. So let's do this. Property set that equal to false. Set it equal to true, and here. And then out here, we're going to say, hey, if property set, then continue. Nope. Continue. Like that. Then I can extract this. And we're going to say, try set property. Like that. Make this virtual and protected. And at this point in our base property changer, we're just going to come in and say return false. descendants can override and return true if successful. All right, so that's try-set property right there. Now, my base property changer. Where are you? Composite effects. So now we have change vector 3, change float, change min-max gradient. I don't have a change color yet, but we can put this over here and change float. OV, like that. And we're going to say, hey, if instance is material, and this time we're in change float, so we know for sure which one of these it is. It's going to be set float. And we might want to verify property name is in the shader. Maybe. So here we can simply just say return true. Here we can say return false. That one we don't need anymore. A couple pieces I still had in here. Color. I just want to grab these two, put them nearby. This one, I'm going to copy this whole piece so it's easy to put in there. All right. So that's change float. Might as well create a change int. Is there? Not even using the change float. Let's duplicate this. We're going to change color. And we'll do that. Now, get value. We need to convert the value, and I think I've already got this. Don't we have a way? Do I have a color utils, color utility? What's inside you? Try parse HTML string. Gets out a color. What type are you? Let's move this to its own class. So we might do something like this. So we might be able to support like an HTML color string, which is like A, B, B, C, C, something like that. But we also might be able to support times, 4.24. Like that. So we support this idea of a multiplier. Because we kind of need to be able to support a multiplier in terms of storing our colors. Let's at least put a note here to do support color multipliers. Seemingly needed for shaders and materials. Okay. And that's Unity Engine color. Okay, good. So there's change color, got change float, change min-max gradient. Okay. Can we get a test with this? We kind of have to I think this is our test. We're going to have to build something that kind of does this, is what I think we're going to have to do. So we want to create a composite effect that builds R1.effect18, finds its shield. In the shield, goes into its particle system renderer. It's tricky. I'm just thinking the smallest test. Then goes into material, and then gets in and modifies Fresnel color. Okay, I may be drilling in a little bit too intensely right now on material, and I'm considering moving back a little bit on this. Let's go show you the rest of the pieces here and kind of give you a sense of where we're trying to go on this. And, so we got the base property changer, includes a modified property. We just kind of dove into that for a little bit. Includes methods for getting a value of the target type and a property changer DTO. So we can get a property changer DTO from a base property changer. And we can call get value on it. Both of those pieces are there. Let's go look at those and where they are used. So here, when we call add property, we pass in a base property changer. It grabs us a DTO from that, is what it does, the property changer DTO. So that's what's happening there. Expect to see a setter for the value transferred over here. And what about when we create it inside of our Oh, right, it's over in my Explorer. It's over here. Here we go. Yeah, value set right through there. Okay, okay, calls to get value on that. They're called right here in the method we were looking at, modify property. I think that's it. Just the overrides. What's this? Try set property and change float. Oh, this is the override we were just creating right there. Okay. So that's it. Basically, when we modify the property, we're calling get value on the base property changer. These are the descendants we have here. We just added change color. Have not tested it yet. Not tested. So we need to test that. Okay. Property changer factory basically has a create from method that can convert a property changer DTO to a base property changer. I think we've seen that. And then we've got our composite effect, which needs some work. It's basically designed to be able to build as a structure. It has children of the same type as the composite effect. And essentially what I want is a one-to-one mapping from each composite effect to each one of these pieces. And I don't have that yet. Right now, what's happening is these are just all structures in the tree node. And if I want to add something new, if I click on add prefab, it'll create it as a descendant, a child of this, in both the tree node and in the real world. It'll be one of its children. But when we come back and say, let's create R1.effect18, that's going to build the that's going to build it without the new child node that we've added. So it's a little bit, we basically need to tease out and decouple the tree structure that we want to create from the tree structure that we currently have. And that, I haven't quite wrapped my head around exactly how to do that yet. That's the part that's a little bit tricky. Let's take a look at how we build this here. I think the first move is to take a look at how we build this here and start incorporating the composite effect into this structure, like this. That's what I'm thinking I want to do. Okay, so we have, somewhere in here we have some tree node descendants. Here's one of them. Okay, this is good news. There's a composite effect here in the game object node. It's what I wanted. I bet there's no references yet to it. Is that true or no? We set the prefab to the prefab name. That's when we click on add prefab clip. If there's a selected node, we add it to that. Otherwise, we add it just to the main hierarchy. Okay. Add effects for nodes. Add effects for nodes. This must be essentially create effects for nodes. Yeah, let's rename this. Create effects for nodes. This goes through, finds all the composite effects there, and then generates the game object. Now, okay, fine. Let's keep going here. Is that my last reference to it? I think that was my last reference to it. Okay, so add prefab. Node is game object node. We go with node. Add children node. All right, let's go look at that. That gets the game object node coming in. Call add child, passing in the same parent node. Let's rename this to parent node. Oops, let's rename it. Okay. All game objects added.
Exactly.
Okay. Just making sure we don't go create a loop here. So that's what's happening here. We add the game object. New game object node. That does not create a new composite effect, by the way. And that's where we want to do this. We want to create a new composite effect. Composite effect is equal to new composite effect. And let's do one other thing. Let's rename this to prefab to create. And let's create a new string property called existing child name, I think. So one of these two will have a value on it. Right here, we want to say, hey, if prefab create is not null, then we want to go into there. And is it just that? Let's break this. Let's split that right there. And let's call this instance. Let's create do. Who's using the result to create? Game object node. Okay. These need to reorder parameters on these guys here. I need to default both of these to null. Okay, so quite correct here. This needs to be running no matter what. This needs to run if I can find instance. So if that's not null, then I need to do those. Now, here I need to do this. Else, if instance defined, is that what we called it? Name. Existing child name is not null. Then we want to get the right instance and find it. And I feel like there's a parent instance that I need to send in down here. Like that. Parent instance, like that. Okay, so if existing child name is not null, then we have to find the child right here. Sorry, parent instance is not an object, it's a game object. And that's got to be set to null as well. Okay, so existing name is not null and parent instance is not null, then we should be able to find it. Is there a way to get the child by name? Let's see what the recommended way is to do it, because I'm a little worried that get child components is going to go nested call through all grandchildren. I only want an immediate child. So let's try it. Unity get child by name. On the transform. All right, let's try that, see how well it works. I'm slightly worried that it's going to go that it won't find it. That it'll maybe find grandchildren and with the same name. I'm hoping it doesn't. Okay, if that's the case, then instance is going to be equal to the result of that. Let's find return. Find returns a transform. Okay, so we'll call this instance. What, child transform? Okay, so this will now allow us to modify properties as we go down, even for existing child game objects. So, that are built automatically by the prefab. So the prefab is going to build these automatically. I might add additional ones, and we need to just differentiate between those two. Okay, so I think this code feels not bad, but we need to test it. So it works to find the instance, either a prefab or an existing one. Excuse me. And then we're going to go continue on through the child composite effect nodes and either find them or create them next. And then once we find or create them, then we're going to call modify properties on them to go change the properties of this piece. And we just do this recursively. Okay, next we need to set this. We're not setting this anywhere. Let's see where we're setting this. Here when we call add prefab by clicking the button. Here when we're creating that composite effect. Is that it? Well, yeah, okay, so we need to set, yeah, no, here, this is actually the only place where we need to do it because we're clicking the add prefab button right here, which will, that's one that we're going to create. Every other composite effect that we create will need to have instead that existing, what is it, child name? I thought that's what it was called. Oh, wait, this is game object node. Dot composite effect dot child, existing child name is equal to, and I think it's just game object dot name. We've got a problem here to do, support adding empty game objects and renaming them later. That's tricky. So now the other piece about this is that this composite effect, that's this property here, also needs to go onto the parent node. As well. So the parent node dot composite effect dot children dot add call needs to be made. This is the tricky part, or at least I was like I was not really wrapping my head entirely around. That's, I think, the call right there. And is that it? Double check, make sure children is created automatically. It is not. Created each time. Created on demand. And created each time. All right, let's rebuild and see kind of, do we have a test yet? We don't really have a test yet. We do have let's see if we can get a copy. Let's see a button to create the JSON here. Although I kind of want to do it live whenever there's a change in the value. I think I'll add a button for now. Okay, so now in this space, if we're doing this all totally correctly, the top nodes in here are going to be our composite effect, or I guess the top node will be our composite effect. Is there a top node? First node? Probably a nodes. Grab the first one. What's my problem here? The effect hierarchy. What's wrong? I can find you here, but I can't find you here. Sorry, nodes of 0. Is that my problem? There it is. That was my problem. I just had to slightly... all right, so we're going to say top node. All right, now if that's the case, now at this point we should be able to serialize this. So JSON convert or something like that. Serialize object. Here's the value. Serialized object, and then we're going to go into our tbx JSON .text and set it equal to the serialized object. Okay. I think there's a chance that's going to work. Let's close it down. Close down TaleSpire. Do a rebuild on that. Yeah, a little intense. Okay. Haven't seen pudding much lately. Hope we didn't spoil. All right, this is potentially really good news. That. Let's copy that to the clipboard. Let's go find a JSON formatter out there. See how it looks. Whoops, looks like I have one already. shield at, shield fringe, shield at bottom, shield fire back, decal, light. This is really good. So all these prefab to creates being null means it's expecting to find it. Existing child name, point light 1. This all looks really, really potentially good. It's like great news. It seems to solve the concern I had about mapping the this structure. I was hoping you were going to tell me how to do that. Thanks, Tony Gorilla. To form the output JSON, by the way. How do I do that? Must be an option here. I got indented. Is that what I need? Maybe is it just that? Yeah, this looks really, really good. Now, we don't have any properties yet. So this is the next tricky piece, is that when I change a property, I want to see it added to the right props piece. We can kind of cheat with this because we've got the list in two places. This is going to blow anybody's mind because we've got essentially a hierarchical structure here and a secondary hierarchical structure that exists separate from it, but still with references to the exact same pieces. So here there's a composite effect on this. This node has a child node and with its own composite effect, but this node's composite effect has a child node that also points to the composite effect in this tree node child of this one. In other words, we've kind of got this kind of graph-like structure almost, but it's basically kind of like two hierarchies in parallel. When I said we can cheat is we don't have to actually go find the right child from this person because this node already has a reference to the right child. And so we can cheat by using this one and adding properties to it. And by doing so, we should see those properties added automatically because we're serializing from the parent right here. So the trick is that when we come into one of these pieces, like, I don't know, this, and we even do that, even that move right there, what we're doing is we're changing the active value from true to false. When we make that change, this is interesting. Set not found for active in hierarchy. I'm not sure whether, we've got a problem here. This seems to indicate that the item has been removed. I don't think it's removed. Huh. Yeah, this is all still working. I'm not sure what that was. So even a move like this needs to add a property change, is what it needs to do. And really would be nice when we change a property, to store its original value. Maybe add a revert button. Suppress serialization. Remove the property setter if its new value matches its old value. Okay. It would be nice. Think about that as a possibility. Okay, so let's look at quickly hooking into that change. We call value changed, which triggers the which makes a call into the value change listener if one exists. In our register, we say we are the listener. That's in our all value editors class right there. And I think what we do in our listener is we go on and trigger it as an event. We send that on out to the outside. And the outside handler is right here inside of a form effect editor. So the question is, where do we put we need a listener to this event, and it's going to modify that topmost composite node, no, the selected composite node. So it's essentially here. It's in the same space. So down in this code here, here's where we need to, this is our to-do, which is basically add a property modification to the composite effect structure. So here we're checking to see we got a selected node. That's good. That's kind of interesting because we actually are more interested in, hey, if TRV effect hierarchy dot selected node is a, I think we're calling it a game object node. I suppose I could also exit this. Force that to be true. So now I've got a game object node. The selected game object node is the one that's going to get the new properties. So we want to get to its composite effect. And is there an add property call? Okay, and it needs a property changer. Property node descends from what? Tree node directly, and this one also descends from tree node directly. I mean, yeah. So we need I think we need a getter here. Feld of Allen is now following. Thanks for that follow. Like, I feel like we're like in the middle of like, we're in the woods here trying to work our way out here. Now, as far as my base property changer, let's go find our base property changer. Let's go see who descends from it. Yeah, I kind of feel like we need Let's go look at the. Let's go look at how we're setting the property changer. Let's look at the designer a second. When we make a click here, a change here, we select the right property editor here. That I think is in this code. So it's either called a show value editor or show special editor. Okay, I'm going to break this right here, and I'm going to say, I'm going to call this the active value editor. I'm going to put this up here, and similarly we'll break this. Oh, I got to rename it first. And break it there. And maybe initialize to null here. And initialize it to null there. Actually, I don't need to because it's going to go right into that. Okay. Let's rename this to show material color editor. Okay. High value editor, I think is going to need to get a new piece. Hey, Surly Dev's here. Welcome, Surly Dev. Delta Valen says, been there, yeah. Been there. Yeah, let's try to get out of this forest, shall we? Here, we need to get the piece that we... let's kind of work our way back out to where we are. Okay. Here we need to get the base property changer. Sorry, not here, here. So... Okay, I want this now as part of iValue editor. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to just throw this in to get everything to compile. I'm going to throw this in everywhere so we get to that compile point, and I'm going to implement it on one space. It'd be really nice to do it in edit color, but it's got an additional challenge that edit color is most used on this. In these accessing these properties of that are on the material. Wasn't it? Didn't I just do it? Oh, it does here. All right.
Surly Dev is in the house.
Surly Dev, welcome. Let's see. Did I get edit int? I did. In max gradient. Don't think I did. How are you doing, Mark? I'm doing okay. How are you doing, Shirley? I'm working on trying to get a move to Spain is what I'm trying to do. But I'm running into problems with the tax rate. It's high. And so I saw a build session with your name on it. Did you do that live or did I miss it? No, it's recorded. It's pre-recorded out there. You should be able to find it somewhere. It's on this product right here, Rush Snippets, which I'll give you a link to. There it is right there. Let's go find the Twitter, I guess. Right here. Here's the doc. You can watch that anytime. Oh, you got it already. Okay, there you go. Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's about 20 minutes long, not too long. And if you're working in VS Code, it might be interesting. Okay, so I've got edit none done, and yep, 2 bald bearded builders live on one video. Then I've got the vector edit here. Does this have it? Nope, doesn't have it here. This might be the easiest one to test in, right here. Okay. Base property changer. And I think what we need to do is we need to create a new change vector 3 like that. Then we need to say, actually this should be a type based. We need to say results dot name is equal to, do we know the property name now? Maybe we're not going to set it. We're just going to return the value. We'll set name later. Value is equal to I think we might be able to be, it might be as simple as just sending the text out from the text box, which is just a comma delimited string. I'm going to say yes to that. So that's my call to get property changer. Everything else is returning null for now on it. I cycled all the way around. I thought I was using this. Well, let's go back to where we were. Okay. Now we need to call get property changer on it. So we're going to say active value editor dot get property changer. We need to set its name. It's in property node, I think. It's in property node if we're here. Maybe it's just enough to grab it from here. That's just at the property name. And then we're going to, let's put this in braces right there. Okay. Wow. I think that might be it. Wish I could step through this code. That's the other challenge in doing this hack, is that it's really hard, apparently, to, or at least hard for me to be able to attach and get the load of the plugin. It's almost, when we tried it, it was like, nope, it never happens. Your plugin's never loaded. Which led me to believe that they were like kind of shadow copying the plugins. They were copying them to another folder, and that's why I thought we were never being loaded, but I could not get the debugging process to work, so I can't step through the code, which means I need to send some debug messages out. So at this point, let's go look at add property, make sure that that is actually going to, yep, it creates lists as needed, adds property changer, and then calls to property changer DTO as well onto props on that. How is that going to work? The base one specifies the type name, grabs value from it, and value is, we set that already. I think it's got a shot of working. Let's send some messages out here. We're going to say getting a property changer for properties.selectedNode.name. So we're going to do that. Send that. At this point, we should see it in the hierarchy. What we're looking for is a property change in the hierarchy to support it with that name. I think we're going to rebuild. Let's shut down TaleSpire. Do a rebuild. Your drone show, courtesy of Surly Dev. Theld Valen says, both bald bearded builders be banging. It's a nice alliteration, yeah. Hey, there's my my hot, sexy wife, 10-inch Cotty Berm. How you doing, baby? She's perfect in every way. You want to have a lunch date soon?
Yeah.
I'll stop it really soon, like in the next 5-10 minutes, and we'll go to lunch date. Okay, did I do a rebuild on this? That'd be banging? All right, so that looks like that's working. Let's do start up TaleSpire. Here's the TaleSpire right there. All right, so we're going to add the prefab. I should have done one for the Boolean is what I should have done as well. Go ahead with good, focus on good old effect 18. Let's get it so we can see it. There it is, right there. Let's take one of these. Feldemelon is asking, is there an API, or I'm guessing based on the title, they're hacking it somehow. There's not an API. However, it's built with .NET, and so we've got reflection, and essentially once you have reflection, or you can reverse engineer a DLL and use a reference to it, there's essentially kind of an API out there. Just to give you a sense of kind of what I've done, kind of both with the API and without, is I'll show you. Actually, I think I can do it right here. Let's turn on the flashlight. So we made a modification to the flashlight. Oh, here comes footing. This show brought to you by Pudding. How you doing, Pudding? If I click this button right here, it puts this out here. So this is an example of kind of a mod that we've created to modify the flashlight to put a target on the screen. We're going to use this for targeting spell effects and things like this. I'm going to replace this outer kind of thing that's happening with particles with something else to just kind of give you a sense of what your range is. So if it's like a spell attack that has a range, that sort of thing. Been lurking to show my girlfriend the fanfare. Nice, but just realized you could just clip it. No worries. No worries. Isn't that fun, the fanfare? Pudding's girlfriend's out there. Everybody. So anyway, that's one of those things that we did and modified. So yeah, there's kind of an API, but it's not a published API. It's, TaleSpire is in. Oh, look! That looks like my good friend Grover. Oh no, it's Grovosaurus! He's dangerous. Do you have a girlfriend, Pudding? Show her the P. He's talking about the letter P that he's going to make with his drones, I think. Right, Surly? Okay, so we're here. And now what I want to do is I want to take one of these and move it. We've got the vector piece. Let's do the shield fringe. Let's grab its particle systems, transform, or no wait, no, not there. Transform, get my local position, and now let's change X to 10. And at this point, actually, let's go bring up the log. Here's the log. So right there is the last thing we see, setting property value. We're going to change this to a 10. We should see something drop in right underneath this. Getting a property changer, found the property changer, called to property change. This is all seemingly good information at this point. So now what I should be able to do is when I call create JSON, good, we should see that for shield fringe, we should see a property changer in there, but no name on it. Oh. That's what we need. We see its type is correct, its value is correct. We just need the name of the property inside of shield fringe. That should say local position, and it does not. Maybe I'm using the wrong property. I should use text instead. I should use text. I bet that fixes it right there. Let's do a quick test of that. And I almost feel like the Boolean, I want to do the bool too as well. Oh, I need to wait until the coaster command finishes running. I need to refactor so I can abort a shell. Oh wait, gonna build that into my script. Okay, cool. I wanted to look at, so I'd already created one of these for vector 3. So look at the code. How hard was that to create a good property changer? It was not hard. And I think I've got a bool property changer already. So if we go to edit bool, right here, we could do something like this, change bool. I bet we've got it. Do we? Oh, we don't have change bool. So we'll need to figure that out. All right. To do, implement, whoops. Implement this. And for now, we're going to return null. Okay, so just to rebuild. And that looks good. Starting. Okay, not bad, right? Not bad at all. Like what I thought was going to be like tricky, I think we just lucked into it just working. The cool thing about all of this is that tomorrow we should be like able to take a JSON output, take JSON and from that create and modify an existing effect to duplicate what we're doing with the property editor. That's cool, right? So that we go in with the property editor, we modify and change the effect with the property editor, and then it gives us the JSON we need. The cool thing about that is once we have those two pieces and we have targeting, which is not, I think, hard to add, so we can see where we want to put it, we're at a point where we're suddenly creating effects for Dungeons & Dragons spells should be just a matter of just coming into the editor, making some changes, and then hitting a button to assign it to as an effect. All of a sudden, I expect all of these effects to suddenly become available for all the spells that we've got. Let's give it a test now. So we're going to grab R1 Effect 18. Same one, we're going into Shield Fringe, going into Transform, grab Local Position, change this to a 10. Whoops, 10. Call Create. There it is off to the side. You can see it there. Call Create JSON. And now, in my Shield Fringe, ooh, okay, I forgot about this potential problem. See that? One is from the first time when I made a mistake or a change to it. The other one is from the second time I did it. Each time I create it, it's going to add a new property. All right, something to fix. We'll fix it, but I don't think I'm going to fix it now. Instead, I'm going to say, hey, thanks everybody for joining us. I'm going to go get a lunch date with my wife. Phil Valen says, I call my developer notebook my grimoire, aka Book of Magic. You're doing it for real. Very cool. Yeah, doing it for real. Yeah, that's really that says, whoops. I like it when that happens. Let's send you over to Bald Bearded Builder. We'll start the raid right now, kids. Thanks again for joining us so much. Tomorrow we'll finish. We'll at least take another stab at this, get this much closer to where we want it to be. I'm going to get rid of that garbage right there, so we'll only have one we're modifying. Cheers, Alan. Good to have you with us, and yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.